Hey, greetings, Fred in Alaska. Thanks for joining me. What I wanted to share with you today happened to Brian back in 2015. Brian, former military, just slight background. Lives in Seward, outside of Seward, what have you. He jumped on a construction contract type deal where they were going to be moving a camp from a low-lying, basically an island in a lagoon that's prone to washing out, that's very dangerous, to a new camp on higher ground, and also to clear a helipad. So he hired on in June of 2015. Now, for the first month or so, everything was just picturesque. Work environment was fine, had a great time, no problems. Ermin and the little babies messing around by his tent. I mean, just picturesque, beautiful, just content environment. And, he said up to that point he had been getting a lot of work done, had no issues, never had any weird, creepy feelings or anything like that. So, come around to July, mid-July, approximately July 18th, he was dealing with an infection in his knee. And so where him and his coworker decided to camp, he camped where his leg was elevated in a small nylon tent. And it was to a point of elevation where his head basically was hanging outside of the tent. And had a shotgun next to him. Had no worries, no concern about his safety. So he goes to sleep. After taking his antibiotics for his knee and what have you, and elevating it and finally getting comfortable. And as he was sleeping, something woke him up about 1 o'clock in the morning, and a coastal sea fog had rolled in, and it really just blackened everything out. Land of the Midnight Sun is true up to a certain point, but once it starts dropping off, you get darkness. Not 100% darkness, but with the sea fog, it can get real dark. So he was dealing with that. So he gets woke up, and he assumes it was probably a coyote or something small predatory animal, just kind of maybe sniffed him, and that's what roused him. And so he figures, well, I'm just gonna give a little bit of a cough, clear my throat kind of thing, and run it off. So he makes his cough, and immediately something very large, he guesstimates about 4 feet away, takes off running away. And he heard the movement, but it wasn't until he heard 12 individual footsteps going away towards the trail he had cut for the new camp, because he was still at the old camp. He was doing the preparations and whatnot. So he said the fear didn't kick in until he felt the ground shake from the first step. Boom! That startled him. He was frozen in fear, and he said he clearly heard the 12 steps, boom, 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 on, and hit the water, and was gone. And once he pulled himself together, he tried to, ask his coworker, did you hear that? And the coworker didn't hear any of it, slept right through it. So his boss makes it back to their camp or whatever the next day, and brought some four-wheeler parts. He had to go and fix a four-wheeler up by the new camp. They hadn't quite moved over that way yet. So he goes up there, and he can't shake the fear that he was dealing with. He was constantly watching the horizon, looking around, checking the tree line constantly. Couldn't let it go. Tried to tell his boss about it. His boss said, hey, you're being paranoid. You got nothing to worry about. Just get your work done. And, typical boss, wants his people to keep working. Totally dismissed his concerns as, oh, you're just paranoid. Nah, you're just paranoid. Don't be paranoid. You're in Alaska. Basically suck it up. So he does this thing. He deals with it. And the experience happened on the 18th at, approximately 1 a.m. or so. And the following work day is with the four-wheeler thing where he couldn't concentrate. Well, just before the end of the month, his boss comes back to him, and they had a bunch of clients that were going to be coming in, because this camp was for outdoor recreation. So he was asked to go pick a bunch of blueberries. So, you know, he takes a percolator coffer can and goes to fill it up with blueberries, so the clients have, you know, fresh blueberry pancakes or whatever. He jumps in the skiff, goes down to where he knows the berry patch is. He parks the skiff and immediately isn't feeling right. Immediately, he's not feeling good about it at all. He only had to go in so far to get to the berries, but Brian said that he was he could feel something watching him. He said it felt like it was 10 to 20 feet away, if that, but he couldn't see anything. And he was trying to pick berries and couldn't. And finally, he just snatched one of the blueberry bushes, ripped it out of the ground, and retreated back to the skiff and just took what he had. He could not hang with it any longer. And so he gets back in the skiff, runs the berries back, and of course his boss was very unhappy. He's like, there's not even near enough for the clients, you might as well eat them. And Brian ate them. You know, he felt his boss was being a jerk, not hearing him out, not being willing to listen. And so within a very short period of time after that, he had made an excuse to bow out, you know, and basically left that job. Now, one of the things that bothers me is he doesn't camp or anything anymore. Now, this former military, not a wallflower. Experiences that happen to people can just totally just take it out of them. You know, they lose the passion for being in the woods. I know that one. I don't have the passion I once did. I'll still go out in the woods, but nothing's the same. I can't get into it. I could be there, you know, I can, you know, do whatever, but I can't get into it like I once did. I'm just thankful that I forced myself to get back on the horse immediately and get back out after what happened with me. So, you know, I understand that feeling of, screw that, I ain't going out in the woods, have fun. There's a whole lot of people that no longer go in the woods because of situations like this. I mean, he felt it in the ground when this thing ran off. Now, again, he's well-versed Alaskan, been around bears, moose. It wasn't any of those. Especially the amount of fear these things invoke. Almost impossible to shake, in my opinion. Just in my humble opinion, once you've been startled in this way, there's no way to just shake it or pretend it didn't happen. And Brian's a perfect example of that, unfortunately. You know, he basically quit that job and has stayed away, you know, from the woods, which is, you know, very, very unfortunate, which I understand. You know, and that's one of the reasons I have the map at the website, subarcticalaskasasquatch.com, so people who are in Alaska or coming to Alaska can zoom in on the map and see, oh, hey, that marker's near where we're gonna go, and see what happened with that person, just so they have it in their mind's eye that, oh, you know, this person had this happen over here, you know, a scream, whatever it may be. But the heads up, there's still going to be a whole lot of naysayers, so there's no way around that. It's just not going to happen. Brian also asked that anyone else in the Seward area that has had any experiences like that to get a hold of me via the website or whatever, or email nocomp907@gmail.com or alaskanharrymanproject@gmail.com. And Brian said he'd be willing to talk to anybody from that area if they had something similar happen. Because all this transpired, you know, at where he was working near Bear Glacier. And there's a lot of little spots out there like that. a lot of little outfits, whether it be fishing, kayaking, you name it, deep sea fishing. They have all sorts of little places out there. And I'm sure Brian is not the last person to have walked away from a job. I know of several just dealing with this channel. Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. You know, there's a lot of people that suffer in silence. I've said it before. You know, reach out. Yeah, it may be mundane. It may feel silly at first, but once you get it off your chest, you feel a lot better. Especially in a non-judgmental place, because even when I was sharing my experience with others, yeah, I would always get that you know, the eye roll, like whatever, you know, lay off the herb, or lay off the drink, or just garbage. But I want to thank Brian for sharing. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. There was videos removed to update. I had a couple questions about missing videos in the number sequence or whatever. Those will be re-uploaded very soon. And thanks again to Brian, and we will check you guys on the next one.